The fluorescent lights of the accounting office flickered above my desk as I glanced at the clock for what felt like the 100th time that afternoon. 3:30. My manager, Mrs. Henderson, had surprised me that morning by letting me leave 2 hours early, a birthday gift she'd called it with a warm smile. At 26 years old, I told everyone I didn't want any fuss this year. No parties, no celebrations, just a quiet evening at home with Marcus, my boyfriend of 3 years. My name is Sarah Chen, and I work as a junior accountant at Morrison & Associates in downtown Seattle. It's not the most exciting job, but it pays the bills for the modest townhouse Marcus and I rent in the Wallingford neighborhood. As I packed up my laptop and said goodbye to my co-workers, I felt a flutter of excitement. Maybe Marcus had planned something small and intimate for us. He'd been acting a bit strange the past few weeks, secretive, always on his phone, disappearing for errands that seemed to take forever. The drive home took 20 minutes through the usual Seattle drizzle. I pulled into our small driveway at 3:47 p.m., earlier than Marcus would have expected. Our townhouse was a 2-story unit with cream-colored siding and a bright red door that I'd insisted on painting myself last summer. I remembered Marcus laughing as I got more paint on myself than on the door. As I approached the entrance, I noticed the living room curtains were drawn, which was unusual for a weekday afternoon. Marcus usually kept them open to let in whatever natural light Seattle's grey skies would offer. I fumbled with my keys, my purse slipping off my shoulder as I tried to balance my work bag and the small bouquet of flowers I'd bought myself. A little self-care treat. The moment I pushed open the door, my entire world shattered into a million pieces. There, on our burgundy sectional sofa, the one we'd spent 3 weekends shopping for, the one where we'd watched countless movies and fallen asleep in each other's arms, was Marcus. But he wasn't alone. A woman with long auburn hair was straddling him, her hands tangled in his dark curls, her lips pressed against his neck. Time seemed to stop. The flowers slipped from my fingers, hitting the hardwood floor with a soft thud. My work bag followed, its contents spilling across the entryway. I couldn't breathe. My vision blurred as tears instantly filled my eyes. Marcus's head snapped up at the sound. His chocolate brown eyes, the ones I'd loved since the day we met at a mutual friend's barbecue, went wide with what looked like shock. He practically threw the woman off his lap, stumbling to his feet as I stood frozen in the doorway. "Sarah, wait," he shouted, his hands raised as if approaching a frightened animal. He moved quickly, positioning himself between me and the door as I instinctively turned to leave. "Baby, it's just a prank. It's just a prank, I swear. A prank." My mind couldn't process the word. My heart was hammering so hard I thought it might burst through my ribcage. Tears were streaming down my face now, hot and fast, blurring everything into watercolor shapes. "Surprise!" The shout came from everywhere at once. Suddenly, people were emerging from every corner of our townhouse. From the kitchen, from the hallway, from behind the staircase. 10 of our closest friends appeared, holding wrapped presents, party poppers, and a large birthday cake covered in vanilla frosting and purple flowers, my favorite. I recognized them all: my best friend Jasmine, her boyfriend Tyler, my college roommate Michelle, Marcus's co-workers Brian and David, and several other people from our friend group. But there were also 3 faces I didn't know well: 2 men and the auburn-haired woman who'd been on top of Marcus. They were all grinning, laughing, clearly expecting me to laugh too. But I couldn't. I couldn't stop the tears. My whole body was shaking. The image of that woman on Marcus, her lips on his skin, was burned into my retinas. Every time I blinked, I saw it again. "Come on, Sarah," Marcus said, his voice taking on an edge of frustration. "I know you said you didn't want a party, but don't you think this is cool? Everyone came out to celebrate with you." I tried to speak, but only a choked sob came out. My chest felt tight, like someone was squeezing my lungs. Jasmine stepped forward, her smile faltering as she saw my face. "Sarah, hey, are you okay?" she asked, her voice uncertain. "Stop crying," Marcus said, and there was an unmistakable tone of annoyance now. It was just a prank. Jesus Christ, Sarah, stop being so dramatic. Dramatic. The word hit me like a slap. I looked at him, really looked at him, and for the first time in 3 years, I didn't recognize the man standing in front of me. His jaw was clenched, his eyes hard with frustration rather than concern. I put all this effort in, he continued, his voice rising. I coordinated with everyone. I planned this whole thing so you could have a fun time, and you're standing here crying like I actually did something wrong. Stop being so sensitive. It's pathetic. The room went silent. Even the people I didn't know looked uncomfortable now. Michelle gasped softly. Jasmine's mouth fell open. Something inside me snapped. I pushed past Marcus with more force than I knew I had in me, my shoulder slamming into his chest. He stumbled backward, caught off guard. I grabbed my car keys from where they'd fallen with my purse and ran out the door, not looking back even as I heard him calling my name. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely get the key in the ignition. Through the windshield, I could see Marcus bursting out of the townhouse, running toward my car. I managed to start the engine and threw it in reverse just as he reached the driveway. "Sarah! Sarah!" His voice was muffled through the closed windows. He slammed his hand on the trunk as I backed out, but I didn't stop. I shifted into drive and pressed the accelerator, leaving him standing in the street, growing smaller in my rearview mirror. As I drove, my phone started buzzing incessantly, call after call, text after text. The screen lit up with Marcus's name over and over, then Jasmine, then Tyler, then numbers I had saved as Marcus's work, Brian, and Michelle. The buzzing became a constant vibration against my thigh where my phone sat in my pocket. The sound made my head pound. My vision was still blurred with tears, making the streetlights blend into streaks of gold and red. I was driving on autopilot, my body moving through the motions while my mind replayed that scene over and over. That woman, on Marcus, his hands on her waist, her lips on his neck. Just a prank. The words felt hollow, meaningless. Because in that moment when I opened the door, before anyone yelled surprise, before Marcus jumped up and said those words, in that single, crystalline moment, I had believed it was real. I had believed the man I loved, the man I'd planned a future with, had betrayed me in the worst possible way. And the feeling of that betrayal was real. The pain in my chest was real. The image seared into my memory was real. How was I supposed to just laugh that off? My father's face flashed through my mind. I was 7 years old again, standing at the top of the stairs in our old house in Tacoma, watching him pack a suitcase with tears streaming down his face. My mother stood in the doorway, her arms crossed, her expression cold and defiant. "It didn't mean anything," she'd said about the affair. "Why can't you just get over it?" I'd spent my entire childhood watching my father try to rebuild himself after that betrayal. I'd seen how it hollowed him out, how it changed him from the warm, laughing man who'd taught me to ride a bike into someone quiet and sad. Even after they divorced when I was 9, he never quite recovered. He dated occasionally, but he never remarried, never let anyone get too close. "Trust is like a mirror, Sarah," he'd told me once when I was a teenager after my first boyfriend, Danny Wu, had cheated on me with a girl from my chemistry class. Once it's broken, even if you glue it back together, you can always see the cracks. The memory made me cry harder. I pulled over into a random parking lot, put my car in park, and just sobbed, my forehead pressed against the steering wheel. My phone continued its relentless buzzing. Finally, when the vibrations became too much to bear, I pulled the phone out and powered it off completely. The sudden silence was almost as jarring as the noise had been. I sat there in that parking lot for what felt like hours, but was probably only 20 minutes, trying to pull myself together. Eventually, my breathing slowed. My tears dried up, leaving my face feeling tight and sticky. I caught sight of myself in the rearview mirror and barely recognized the person looking back. My mascara had run in black tracks down my cheeks. My eyes were bloodshot and swollen. My hair, which I'd carefully styled that morning, was a mess. I needed to get away, somewhere Marcus couldn't find me, somewhere I could think. I pulled back onto the road and drove south, heading towards SeaTac. After about 30 minutes, I spotted a chain hotel near the airport, one of those generic places designed for business travelers and red-eye passengers. Perfect. Anonymous. The young man at the front desk, whose name tag read Kevin, gave me a concerned look as I approached. I must have looked like hell. "Just need a room for a few nights," I said, my voice hoarse from crying. "Of course, Mum. Is everything all right?" he asked hesitantly. I almost laughed. Instead, I just shook my head. I've had better days. He didn't press further, thankfully, and within 10 minutes I was riding the elevator to the 3rd floor, clutching a keycard and my purse. I hadn't brought anything else, no clothes, no toiletries, nothing. I'd just run. The room was exactly what I expected. Beige walls, generic landscape art, a queen bed with a comforter in navy and tan stripes, a small desk, a TV mounted on the wall. It smelled like industrial cleaning products and air freshener. It was perfect in its impersonality. I collapsed onto the bed fully clothed and stared at the ceiling. The events of the past hour played on loop in my mind. Eventually, exhaustion won out, and I fell into a fitful sleep plagued by dreams of that auburn-haired woman's hands in Marcus's hair. I woke up to weak sunlight filtering through the hotel curtains and the disorienting feeling of not knowing where I was. For a blissful moment, I forgot everything. Then it all came rushing back, hitting me like a physical blow. The prank, the woman, Marcus's face, his cruel words. "Stop being so sensitive." I rolled over and checked the digital clock on the nightstand. 7:23 a.m. My body ached from sleeping in my work clothes. My throat was dry, my head pounding from dehydration and crying. I stumbled to the bathroom and drank water straight from the tap, catching sight of my reflection. I looked even worse than I had last night. My makeup was completely smudged, my hair sticking up at odd angles, my eyes still puffy. I splashed cold water on my face and tried to wash away the mascara tracks, then realized I needed to figure out what to do next. I couldn't hide in this hotel room forever, even though part of me wanted to. Work. The thought jolted me into action. I needed to call Mrs. Henderson. Today was supposed to be a normal work day for me, but there was no way I could go in looking and feeling like this. I powered on my phone, prepared for the onslaught of notifications. I wasn't disappointed. The screen lit up with 47 missed calls and 103 text messages. I ignored them all and dialed the office number. "Morrison and Associates, this is Janet speaking." "Hi, Janet, it's Sarah Chen. I need to speak with Mrs. Henderson, please. Is she available?" "Oh, hi, Sarah. Happy belated birthday. Let me transfer you." The hold music seemed to last forever. Finally, Mrs. Henderson's warm voice came on the line. "Sarah, everything all right?" Just hearing her motherly tone made my throat tighten with fresh tears. "Mrs. Henderson, I'm so sorry for the short notice, but I need to take a few personal days. There's been a family emergency. It wasn't entirely a lie. My relationship felt like my family, and it was definitely an emergency." "Oh, no, dear. Of course, take all the time you need. Is there anything I can do?" "No, thank you. I just need a few days to sort things out. I should be back by Monday." "Don't worry about work. Family comes first. Take care of yourself, Sarah." We said goodbye, and I felt a small weight lift from my shoulders. At least I didn't have to worry about work for a few days. Next, I needed somewhere to go that wasn't this hotel room, somewhere I could actually stay and think. I scrolled through my contacts and stopped at a name, Aunt Linda. Aunt Linda wasn't technically my aunt, she was my father's cousin, but she'd been a constant presence in my life since the divorce. She lived in Shoreline, about 30 minutes north of Seattle, in a beautiful craftsman house with her husband Robert and their golden retriever Barley. She'd always told me I was welcome any time. I hit the call button before I could second-guess myself. "Sarah, what a wonderful surprise! How was your birthday, sweetheart?" Her cheerful voice made the tears start again. "Aunt Linda," I managed, my voice breaking, Can I come stay with you for a few days?" The change in her tone was immediate. Of course, honey. What's wrong? Are you hurt? Where are you? I'm okay physically. I can't be at home right now. I'll explain when I see you. You come straight here. I'm making up the guest room right now. Do you have the address? Yes, thank you, Aunt Linda. I'll be there in about an hour. Drive safely, sweetheart. I checked out of the hotel and made a quick stop at a drugstore where I bought a toothbrush, some basic toiletries, a cheap t-shirt, and a pair of sweatpants. Then I stopped at a small breakfast place and forced myself to eat something. Scrambled eggs and toast that tasted like cardboard, but my body needed fuel. By the time I pulled up to Aunt Linda's house at 9:47 a.m., I felt slightly more human, if still completely shattered. Aunt Linda must have been watching for me because she opened the front door before I even made it up the walkway. She was a petite woman in her early 60s with short silver hair and kind blue eyes. She took one look at my face and pulled me into a tight hug. "Oh, honey," she murmured, rubbing my back. "Come inside." Barley bounded up to greet me, his tail wagging enthusiastically, completely oblivious to human drama. His uncomplicated joy made me smile despite everything, the first genuine smile since yesterday afternoon. Aunt Linda led me to her cozy living room and sat me down on her overstuffed floral sofa. She disappeared into the kitchen and returned moments later with a mug of chamomile tea and a plate of homemade chocolate chip cookies. "Now," she said, settling into the armchair across from me, "tell me everything." And I did. The whole story poured out of me. The prank, Marcus's reaction, my family history with cheating, everything. Aunt Linda listened without interrupting, her expression growing more concerned with each detail. When I finally finished, she reached over and squeezed my hand. "Oh, Sarah, I'm so sorry. That was incredibly thoughtless of him, even if it was meant as a joke." "Everyone thinks I overreacted," I said quietly. "All our friends were there, and I just ran out crying. They probably think I'm crazy." "You are not crazy," Aunt Linda said firmly. "Given your history, what he did was cruel, intentional or not. And his reaction afterward, calling you dramatic and sensitive. That's not how someone who loves you should respond when you're hurting." Her words validated feelings I'd been trying to suppress. "I don't know what to do." "For now, you don't have to do anything except rest and take care of yourself. The guest room is yours for as long as you need it. Robert's away on a fishing trip until Friday, so it's just us girls. Well, and Barley." As if on cue, Barley rested his head on my knee, looking up at me with those soulful brown eyes. I scratched behind his ears, feeling some of the tension ease from my shoulders. "Come on," Aunt Linda said. "Let's get you settled." The guest room was painted a calming sage green with white trim. A queen bed with a handmade quilt dominated the space, flanked by matching oak nightstands. A bookshelf lined one wall, filled with mystery novels and old photo albums. The window overlooked Aunt Linda's garden, where early spring flowers were just beginning to bloom. "There are fresh towels in the bathroom," Aunt Linda said. "Take a shower, get some rest. I'll make us lunch later." After she left, I unpacked my meager supplies and stood under the hot shower for almost 30 minutes, washing away the remnants of yesterday. When I emerged, wrapped in Aunt Linda's fluffy bathrobe, I felt physically cleaner but emotionally still raw. I knew I couldn't avoid my phone forever. I sat on the bed, took a deep breath, and powered it on again. The notifications flooded in immediately, but this time I had a plan. I'd start with my friends, the ones I knew and trusted, before dealing with Marcus. I opened our main friend group chat first, Sarah's People, Jasmine had named it. The message history from last night was extensive. I scrolled to the beginning. Jasmine, 9:47 p.m. "Sarah, where did you go? We're all so worried." Michelle, 9:49 p.m. "Please just let us know you're safe." Tyler, 9:52 p.m. "We're trying to call you, please pick up." Brian, 10:03 p.m. "Sarah, we're really concerned. Marcus is losing it." Jasmine, 10:15 p.m. "I'm calling the police if we don't hear from you in the next hour." Then the messages shifted tone. Michelle, 10:47 p.m. "Okay, we talked to Marcus. We need to explain what happened. That wasn't what we planned at all." Jasmine, 10:49 p.m. Sarah, I am so sorry. We had no idea that's what was going to happen. I feel horrible. Tyler, 10:51 p.m. Yeah, the plan was completely different. We're all really upset about what went down. Michelle, 11:23 p.m. That girl, Vanessa, she changed everything. We're all so angry. The messages continued through the night and into this morning. Jasmine, 7:34 a.m. Sarah, please, I know you're reading these. We love you. We just want to know you're okay. Michelle, 8:12 a.m. We're on your side always, but please talk to us. I stared at the messages, confused. Vanessa, who was Vanessa? And what did they mean the plan was different? I noticed I was showing as online now. Immediately, the typing indicators appeared. Jasmine, Sarah. Oh, thank God, are you okay? Where are you? Michelle, we've been so worried. Tyler, hey, good to see you're alive. My fingers hesitated over the keyboard, then I typed, Sarah, I'm safe. I'm staying with family. I'm sorry for scaring everyone. Jasmine, don't apologize. We're sorry. We need to explain what happened. Can we call you? I thought about it for a moment, then replied, Sarah, not ready for a call yet, but you can explain here. What happened? What did you mean the plan was different? There was a pause, then Jasmine started typing. A long message came through. Jasmine, okay. So here's what actually went down, and I need you to know that none of us knew this would happen. About 2 weeks ago, Marcus told us he wanted to plan a surprise birthday party for you, even though you said no party. We all thought it was sweet that he wanted to celebrate you anyway. He added us all to a group chat to plan it. Everything was normal. We were picking out decorations, food, gifts, all the usual party stuff. Then Marcus said he wanted to add some old college friends to the group. He said they'd recently reconnected and wanted to meet you. We were like, sure, whatever. So he added 3 people, Jordan, Eric, and Vanessa. They seemed nice enough in the chat. Then Vanessa suggested doing a prank before the surprise. She pitched this idea about a serial killer scenario. Marcus would be tied up on the couch with fake blood, and someone in a costume would be stabbing him with a fake knife. You'd walk in, be scared, then we'd all jump out and surprise you. She said it would be funny because you love horror movies. Michelle, we were skeptical at first, but they kept saying it would be harmless fun, and it would only last like 30 seconds before we revealed everything. They showed us TikToks of similar pranks where everyone ended up laughing. We only agreed because, 1, it would be super quick. 2, they'd have props and costumes, so it would obviously be fake. And 3, you genuinely do love scary stuff, so we thought you might actually think it was creative. Tyler, the day of your birthday, we all showed up early to set everything up. Vanessa and the other guys ushered us into hiding spots while they set up the prank. We were hidden in different rooms, waiting for Marcus to give us the signal to come out. When we finally heard him yell for us to come out, we all rushed out with the cake and stuff, ready to surprise you. But Sarah, the look on your face wasn't scared from a horror prank. You looked completely devastated, and you were crying. We were all so confused. Jasmine, that's when we actually saw what had happened. Vanessa was on top of Marcus. No costume, no fake blood, no knife, no serial killer scenario. Just her straddling him, looking like they were about to hook up. We were all in shock. Michelle literally dropped the cake. Sorry about your carpet, BTW. Then we saw Marcus push Vanessa off and chase after you. Some of us tried to follow you too, but you were too fast. Brian. The rest of us stayed back trying to figure out what the hell just happened. Marcus's other friends, Jordan and Eric, were asking Vanessa why she wasn't in costume. She just stood there looking weird and didn't answer. Then Marcus came back inside looking destroyed. He was actually crying. He told everyone to leave and went to your bedroom. Vanessa followed him in there, which was super inappropriate. We could hear him yelling at her to get out. She came out looking embarrassed and left. Michelle. After everyone left, we stayed behind trying to reach you. We were all so upset. Jordan and Eric apologized a bunch and said they had no idea Vanessa was going to do that. But honestly, we didn't really care about their apologies. We just wanted to find you. We tried calling and texting, but you'd turned off your phone. Eventually we went home and have been worried sick ever since. I read through all the messages twice, my mind spinning. They'd planned a serial killer prank, not that. I remembered them saying something about horror movies, but I'd been too upset to process it at the time. Sarah: so you're saying Marcus was supposed to be the victim and someone in a scary costume was supposed to be attacking him? Jasmine: yes, with fake blood and props and everything. It was supposed to be obviously fake and last like 30 seconds max before we surprised you, not whatever the hell Vanessa did. Michelle: we actually have videos if you want to see them. We were recording the whole thing to capture your reaction to the surprise party. You can see on the videos that we were just as shocked as you were. Tyler: fair warning though, the videos might be upsetting to watch. Sarah: send them, I need to see. A minute later, 3 video files came through. I steeled myself and hit play on the first one. The video was from Michelle's phone. It showed Jasmine hiding behind the staircase, whispering excitedly into the camera about how they hoped I'd love the surprise. She panned the camera around to show Tyler and Brian hiding in the kitchen, giving thumbs up to the camera. Everyone looked genuinely happy and excited. She should be here any minute, Jasmine whispered. This is going to be so great. The second video was from Tyler's perspective, starting with him recording the living room from his hiding spot. I could see Marcus sitting on the couch looking at his phone and Vanessa standing nearby. The timestamp showed this was about 3 minutes before I arrived. Where's the costume? Someone, sounded like Jordan, asked off camera. Vanessa's voice: oh, I forgot it at home. No time to go back now. She'll be here soon. Marcus's face looked uncomfortable even on the video. Maybe we should skip the prank then. No, it'll still work, Vanessa interrupted. Come on, she's going to love it. Marcus looked like he wanted to argue, but then seemed to give up. Fine, but make it quick. Then Vanessa moved toward him, and the camera angle shifted as Tyler presumably tried to get a better view. I watched as Vanessa positioned herself over Marcus in a way that was definitely not how someone would position themselves for a fake serial killer scene. There were no props. She wasn't holding anything. She was just on him. Her hands went into his hair and I paused the video, my stomach churning. Even knowing now that this wasn't what was supposed to happen, seeing it again made my chest tighten. The third video picked up right after I must have walked in. The angle was from Brian's phone. I watched myself turn and start to leave, watched Marcus jump up and position himself in front of the door. I saw my face. The devastation there was unmistakable. Then I heard everyone yell, "Surprise!" and I watched myself cry harder instead of laugh. This isn't right, Michelle's voice said from somewhere off camera. Why is she still crying? The camera work got shaky as Brian presumably emerged from hiding. It swung around to show Vanessa still sitting on the couch, now looking annoyed. Marcus was blocking my path, and I could hear his voice getting aggressive, even though the phone's microphone didn't pick up all the words. Then I watched myself push past him and run out. The video followed Marcus as he shoved Vanessa roughly aside, enough that she fell back on the couch and ran after me. The last thing the video captured was Jasmine and Michelle's shocked faces. I set the phone down, feeling sick. Seeing it from their perspective made some things clearer, but it also raised so many questions. I picked up my phone again and started typing. Sarah, I believe you. I can see in the videos that you were all surprised too. I'm sorry for ghosting you all. None of this was your fault. Jasmine, don't apologize. You didn't do anything wrong. We're the ones who should have vetted this prank idea better. We should have known better given your history. Michelle, how are you doing? Really? Sarah, honestly, I'm a mess, but I'm safe and I'm with people who care about me. I just need some time to process everything. Jasmine, take all the time you need, but please know we love you and we're here whenever you're ready. And Sarah? We're not including Marcus or his friends in anything for the foreseeable future. We're furious with all of them. Tyler, we've already started planning a do-over birthday celebration. Just us. No Marcus, no his college friends, no pranks, just good food and good people. This weekend if you're up for it? The gesture made my eyes well up with tears again, but this time they were grateful tears. Sarah, That sounds perfect. Thank you guys for being such amazing friends. I don't know what I'd do without you. Michelle: We're a package deal, babe. You're stuck with us forever. We exchanged a few more messages. Them asking where I was staying, I kept it vague. Me reassuring them I was okay. Plans for the weekend get-together. By the time I set my phone down, I felt emotionally exhausted but also validated. My friends had my back. They hadn't been part of whatever Vanessa had done, but that still left the biggest question unanswered. What was I going to do about Marcus? As if summoned by my thoughts, my phone buzzed with a new message. But it wasn't in the group chat. It was a direct message from Marcus. Marcus, I know where you are. My blood ran cold. I stared at the message, my heart racing. How did he know where I was? I hadn't told anyone except the phone. There must be some app, some location sharing service I'd forgotten about. Before I could respond, another message came through. Marcus, I'm outside. Please, Sarah, I just want to talk. Please give me a chance to explain. I jumped up from the bed and went to the window, carefully peeking through the curtains. Sure enough, Marcus's silver Honda Accord was parked across the street. I could see him in the driver's seat, his phone in his hand. Part of me wanted to tell him to leave, but another part, the part that had loved him for 3 years, the part that had imagined a future with him, knew I needed to hear what he had to say, even if it hurt, especially if it hurt. Because otherwise, I'd always wonder. I took a deep breath and texted back, Sarah, wait there, I'll come out in 5 minutes. I changed out of Aunt Linda's bathrobe and into my jeans from yesterday and the cheap t-shirt from the drugstore. I washed my face again, pulled my hair into a ponytail, and went downstairs. Aunt Linda was in the kitchen, preparing what looked like chicken soup. Marcus is here, I said without preamble. She turned from the stove, her expression hardening. Do you want me to send him away? No, I need to talk to him, but would you mind if we talked in your living room? I don't want to be alone with him right now. Understanding crossed her face. Of course, I'll be right here in the kitchen if you need me, and Barley won't leave your side. I gave her a grateful smile and went to the front door. Through the decorative glass panel, I could see Marcus getting out of his car. He was carrying an enormous bouquet of pink and white peonies, my favourite flowers, and a gold box I recognised as being from Bella's Chocolates, the expensive boutique downtown where they made champagne truffles I loved. He looked awful. His usually neat hair was dishevelled, sticking up in places like he'd been running his hands through it repeatedly. His eyes were red-rimmed and swollen. He was wearing sweatpants and a wrinkled t-shirt, which was completely unlike him. Marcus was usually meticulous about his appearance. I opened the door before he could knock. For a moment, we just stared at each other. Hi, he said finally, his voice rough. Hi. Can we talk? Inside, my aunt is home. Relief flashed across his face. He probably thought having Aunt Linda there meant I was willing to hear him out. He was right, but it also meant I had backup if things went south. I led him into the living room. He tried to hand me the flowers and chocolates, but I shook my head. Just put them on the coffee table. He did, his movements careful, like I was a wild animal that might bolt at any moment. Which, honestly, wasn't far from the truth. We sat on opposite ends of Aunt Linda's sofa. Barley immediately planted himself at my feet, his body pressed against my legs. Marcus noticed and looked hurt by it. How did you find me? I asked, keeping my voice level. The Life 360 app. We installed it last year, remember? After your car broke down on that road trip and I couldn't find you for 3 hours. I did remember. We'd both agreed it was a good safety measure. It had never occurred to me to turn it off. Sarah, I am so sorry, Marcus started and his voice cracked. I never meant for any of that to happen. I swear to God that wasn't the plan at all. I know, I said quietly. My friends explained everything. They showed me the videos. He looked surprised. They did? Yes. So I know about the serial killer prank that was supposed to happen. I know about Vanessa changing it. I paused, studying his face. What I don't know is why you went along with it when you clearly knew something was wrong. Marcus ran his hands through his hair, that familiar nervous gesture. I didn't want to. You can see it in the video, right? I tried to argue, but Vanessa insisted it would still work, and He took a shaky breath. I didn't want to cause a scene in front of everyone. I thought it would just be 30 seconds, and then it would be over. I was an idiot. I should have stopped it completely. What was she doing, Marcus? Because from where I was standing, and from what the videos show, it looked like you two were about to make out. We weren't. I mean, she was doing that, but I wasn't. I was just sitting there like a mannequin trying to wait it out until you got there. I was uncomfortable as hell. I wanted to believe him. God, I wanted to believe him so badly, but something didn't add up. Then why did you react the way you did when I got upset? Why did you get angry instead of concerned? His face crumpled. Because I panicked. I realized how bad it looked, and I panicked and tried to make it seem like less of a big deal. Like if I acted like it was no big deal, then it would actually be no big deal. But that was wrong. So wrong. You were hurting, and instead of comforting you, I made it worse. Tears started streaming down his face. You have every right to be furious with me. What I did was awful, even if it wasn't what I intended. I felt my own tears building again. Do you have any idea what it felt like? Seeing that? Do you understand why I reacted that way? I do now, he whispered. After you left, after everyone was gone, I sat in our bedroom and I actually thought about it. Really thought about it. About your mum cheating on your dad. About how you watched your dad fall apart. About Danny cheating on you in high school. And then I thought about what you must have felt walking in and seeing that. He was crying harder now. I am so fucking sorry, Sarah. I don't know how to make this right, but I will do anything to fix this. Aunt Linda appeared in the doorway with a box of tissues. She handed them to Marcus without a word, gave me a meaningful look, and disappeared back into the kitchen. Barley let out a low whine and pressed harder against my legs. Marcus wiped his face and took several deep breaths, trying to compose himself. When he looked at me again, his eyes were red, but clearer. Tell me about Vanessa, I said. Who is she really? He looked confused. What do you mean? She's an old college friend. She and Jordan and Eric found me on Facebook a few weeks ago wanting to reconnect. And you just let a random woman straddle you for a prank? Sarah, it wasn't like that. She was supposed to be in a costume, holding props, pretending to attack me. It was supposed to look like a scary movie scene, not what it turned into. But she wasn't in costume, she wasn't holding props, and you still let her position herself on you like that? I was trying to object, but then I heard your car pull up, and there wasn't time to argue anymore, and I just froze. I made a terrible decision in the moment. I should have shoved her off immediately and stopped the whole thing. I studied his face, looking for any sign of deception. Do you know why she did it? Why she changed the plan? He shook his head. After you left, she came into our bedroom and I yelled at her. I asked her what the hell she was thinking, why she ruined everything, and she... He stopped, looking uncomfortable. She what? She asked me if that meant I was single now. The room went silent except for the sound of Aunt Linda's soup simmering in the kitchen. What? I finally managed. Yeah, that's when I realized she'd done it on purpose. She wanted to break us up. I don't know why. We dated for like 3 months freshman year, and it was nothing serious. But apparently she thought, I don't know what she thought, that we'd get back together. A chill ran down my spine. Wait, you dated her? Marcus looked at me like I'd grown a second head. Yeah, I told you about her. Rebecca, my freshman year girlfriend. Well, her real name is Vanessa Rebecca Morrison, but she went by Rebecca back then. The world seemed to tilt sideways. You never told me her first name was Vanessa. Didn't I? He looked genuinely uncertain. I've always called her Rebecca. That's what everyone called her in college. So when she contacted you and introduced herself as Vanessa, you didn't connect it to your ex-girlfriend Rebecca. No, He stopped, his face going pale. Oh my God, she looked different. She used to have short black hair, and now it's long and auburn. She's lost weight. She was wearing contacts instead of glasses, but it's been 7 years. People change. He trailed off, staring at nothing as the realization hit him. She did it on purpose. She knew exactly what she was doing. She reconnected with me, convinced me to let her help with the party, suggested the prank, changed it at the last second, all to break us up. We sat in silence as the full manipulation became clear. Vanessa, Rebecca, had orchestrated the entire thing. "I need you to be completely honest with me right now," I said, my voice shaking. "Did anything happen between you and her during these past few weeks? Any texting, any meetings, anything at all that crossed a line?" "No," Marcus said emphatically. "I swear to you, no. We talked in the group chat about party planning, and that's it. Well, she tried to get me to meet up for coffee once to catch up properly, but I told her I was too busy with work. I didn't think anything of it at the time." I wanted to believe him. The facts seemed to support his story. My friends had verified his account. The videos showed his discomfort. His reaction afterward, chasing me, crying, yelling at Vanessa. It all pointed to him being a victim of her manipulation too. But there was still the matter of how he'd treated me. "Even if Vanessa orchestrated all of this," I said slowly, "you still chose to talk to me the way you did. You called me dramatic and sensitive and pathetic while I was crying. That wasn't Vanessa, that was you." His face crumbled again. "I know, and I will regret that for the rest of my life. There's no excuse for it. I was defensive and embarrassed, and I lashed out at you when I should have been comforting you." He moved slightly closer on the couch, though still keeping distance between us. "Sarah, I love you. More than anything, you're the best thing that's ever happened to me. I know I fucked up, massively, but please give me a chance to make this right. I'll go to couples counseling, I'll do whatever it takes. Just please don't give up on us." I closed my eyes, feeling the weight of the decision pressing down on me. 3 years. We'd been together for 3 years. We'd talked about marriage, about kids, about growing old together. Could I throw all of that away over one terrible, manipulated mistake? But then I remembered the look in his eyes when he called me pathetic. I remembered how small he'd made me feel in that moment, and I remembered my father's words about broken mirrors and visible cracks. "I need time," I said finally. "I can't make this decision right now. I'm hurt and confused and angry, and I need space to figure out what I want." "Okay," Marcus said quickly. "Okay, yes. Take all the time you need. I'll stay away. I'll give you space. Just please don't end this without giving me a real chance to fix it." "I'm not ending anything right now," I clarified, "but I'm also not promising anything. I just need time." He nodded, wiping his face again. "Can I at least know you're safe and being taken care of?" I glanced toward the kitchen, where I could hear Aunt Linda humming to herself. "I'm safe, and I'm being taken care of very well." "Good, that's good." He stood up slowly, as if testing whether I'd object. When I didn't, he moved toward the door. He paused in the doorway and turned back to me. "I love you, Sarah Chen, more than I've ever loved anyone, and I will wait as long as it takes." After he left, I sat on the couch for a long time, Barley's head now resting in my lap. Aunt Linda eventually came in with 2 bowls of soup and sat beside me. "Want to talk about it?" she asked gently. "I think I'm going to give him another chance," I admitted. "Is that stupid?" "It's not stupid, it's complicated." She handed me a bowl of soup. "But make sure you're giving him another chance because you truly believe he can change and you want to rebuild trust. Not because it's easier than being alone or because you're afraid of starting over." Her words hit home. "How do I know the difference?" "Time," she said simply, "which is why taking time right now is exactly the right thing to do." We ate soup in companionable silence, and I felt some of the tension ease from my shoulders. Maybe things could be okay. Maybe Marcus and I could get past this. Maybe... My phone buzzed. I picked it up, expecting another message from Marcus, but it was from Jasmine. Jasmine. "Hey, so this is probably nothing but thought you should know. Eric, one of Marcus's college friends, just reached out to me. He says he and Jordan want to apologize to you in person and that there's something they think you should know about Vanessa. Want me to tell them you're not interested, or do you want to hear them out?" My stomach dropped. Something they think I should know about Vanessa? What else could there possibly be? I showed the message to Aunt Linda. She read it and frowned. "What does your gut tell you?" she asked. "That I'm not going to like whatever they have to say," I admitted, "but that I need to hear it anyway." "Sarah, can they meet me somewhere public tomorrow, like a coffee shop?" Jasmine, "Yeah, I'm sure. Want me to come with you?" Sarah, "Please." Jasmine, "Done. I'll set it up and text you the details. We've got your back, babe." I set the phone down and looked at Aunt Linda. "I'm scared." "I know, honey," she said, pulling me into a hug. "But the truth is usually scary. Doesn't mean we don't need to hear it." That night, lying in Aunt Linda's guest room with Barley curled up at the foot of the bed, I couldn't sleep. My mind kept replaying everything. The original shock of seeing Marcus and Vanessa together, the videos from my friends, Marcus's tearful apology, and now this mysterious information that Eric and Jordan wanted to share. What else could there be? What other secrets were waiting to explode my world apart? The next morning, I put on the most armor-like outfit I could manage from my limited wardrobe. Dark jeans, a black turtleneck I'd borrowed from Aunt Linda, and my leather jacket. I pulled my hair back in a tight bun and put on more makeup than usual, like war paint. Jasmine picked me up at 10:30 a.m. She took one look at me and pulled me into a fierce hug before I could even get in the car. "You've got this," she said, "and I'll be right there with you the whole time." The coffee shop, a place called Grounded that Jasmine had chosen because it was public but had quiet corners, was a 15-minute drive away. During the ride, Jasmine filled me in on what little she knew. "Eric called me last night. He sounded really, troubled. He said he and Jordan had some information about Vanessa that they didn't want to share in a text or over the phone. He asked if they could meet with you in person." "Did he give you any hint about what it was?" "Just that it had to do with why Vanessa came back into Marcus's life." My stomach churned. "This is going to be bad, isn't it?" "Maybe," Jasmine said honestly, "but whatever it is, at least you'll know the truth. And knowing is better than wondering." We arrived at Grounded at 10:55 a.m. Through the window, I could see Eric and Jordan already sitting at a corner table. Eric was a tall, thin guy with dark hair and glasses. Jordan was shorter and stockier with sandy blonde hair. Both looked nervous. Jasmine grabbed my hand. "Ready?" "No, but let's do it anyway." We walked in together, ordered coffees at the counter. I got a vanilla latte I knew I wouldn't be able to drink, and approached their table. Both men stood up when they saw us. "Sarah," Eric said, "thank you for meeting us. We know you have no reason to trust us after everything." "Let's just get to it," I said, sitting down. Jasmine sat beside me, close enough that our shoulders touched. "What do you need to tell me?" Eric and Jordan exchanged glances. Finally, Jordan spoke. "We need to start by saying that we're really, really sorry. We had no idea Vanessa was going to pull what she did. We thought we were just helping plan a fun surprise party for you." "I believe you," I said. "My friends showed me the videos. You both looked as shocked as everyone else." Relief crossed their faces. "Okay, good," Eric said. "Because what we're about to tell you is going to sound bad, but I need you to know we weren't part of her plan. We got used too." "Just tell me," I said, my patience wearing thin. Eric took a deep breath. "Okay, so here's the thing. Vanessa didn't randomly find Marcus on Facebook. She's been looking for him for months, maybe longer." My blood ran cold. "What?" Jordan leaned forward. "About 6 months ago, Vanessa started asking us about Marcus. We'd all been friends in college, but after graduation we lost touch with him. She kept asking if we knew how to find him, if we'd heard from him, if we knew what he was doing now. We thought it was weird but didn't think too much of it. Old friends try to reconnect sometimes, right? But then she got really persistent," Eric continued. "She offered to pay us to help her find him. That's when we got suspicious. We asked her why she wanted to find him so badly, and she told us—" He paused, looking uncomfortable. "She told us she'd never gotten over him, that he was the one who got away, and she'd made a huge mistake breaking up with him back in college." Jasmine's hand found mine under the table and squeezed tight. "We told her that was weird, and we weren't going to help her stalk our old friend," Jordan said. "We kind of cut her off after that, but then, like 3 weeks ago, she contacted us again. She said she'd found Marcus on Facebook and had already reached out to him. She said he'd responded and seemed happy to reconnect. She sent us screenshots of their conversations, Eric added. Everything looked normal, just old friends catching up. She said Marcus had mentioned you and that you guys were planning a surprise party. She asked if we wanted to be part of it. We thought, okay, maybe we were wrong about her. Maybe she really had moved on and just wanted to be friends, so we said yes. The prank was Vanessa's idea from the start, Jordan said, but the original plan really was the serial killer thing. We were all on board with that because it seemed harmless and creative. We didn't know she was going to change it until it was happening. So why are you telling me this? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. What's the new information? Eric pulled out his phone and opened his photo gallery. After the party disaster, Vanessa kind of went off the rails. She started texting us and calling us, ranting about Marcus and how he was supposed to realize he still loved her. She wasn't making a lot of sense. Then yesterday she sent us these. He turned his phone toward me. On the screen was a screenshot of a text conversation between Vanessa and someone named Liz. The messages were dated from about a month ago. Vanessa, I found him. He's still in Seattle. Liz, and? Vanessa, he has a girlfriend. They live together. Liz, babes, maybe this is a sign to let it go. Vanessa, no, I can break them up. I just need a plan. Liz, this is insane. You need to move on. Vanessa, I've spent 7 years trying to move on. Nothing works. He's the only one. Once I remind him how good we were together, he'll remember too. Liz, this is going to end badly. Vanessa, I don't care. He's worth it. I felt sick. Eric scrolled to show me more screenshots, messages where Vanessa detailed her plan to reconnect with Marcus, to get close to him through a party, to create a situation that would make his girlfriend, me, leave him. The last screenshot was from 2 days ago, after the party. Vanessa, it didn't work. He told me to leave. He's still with her. Liz, I told you this was a bad idea. Vanessa, I'm not giving up. She'll mess up eventually. They all do, and I'll be there when she does. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the coffee cup I'd been gripping. Jasmine wrapped her arm around my shoulders. There's more, Jordan said quietly. Show her the other one. Eric scrolled to another screenshot. This one was a text from Vanessa to Marcus, sent yesterday, after Marcus had come to see me at Aunt Linda's house. Vanessa, I saw Sarah leave town. Where did she go? Did she break up with you? I'm here if you need someone to talk to. I've always been here for you, Marcus. We were so good together. Remember how we used to stay up all night talking about our dreams? Remember that trip to Portland? I still think about you every day. I never should have let you go. Give me another chance. Let me show you how good we could be together. The message went on and on, several paragraphs of her professing her feelings and trying to convince him they should be together. Did he respond? I heard myself ask. Yeah, Eric said, scrolling down. That's why we thought you needed to see this. Marcus's response was short. Marcus, Vanessa, I need you to stop contacting me. I love Sarah. I'm not interested in rekindling anything with you, and I never was. What you did was manipulative and hurtful, and it almost destroyed the best relationship I've ever had. Please respect my relationship and my boundaries. Don't contact me again. He blocked her after that, Jordan added. She tried to reach out to us to get messages to him, but we blocked her too. We just thought you should know the full extent of what she was trying to do. I sat there, staring at the screenshots, my mind reeling. Marcus had told me most of the truth yesterday, but he hadn't told me about Vanessa's message or his response. Why? Was he trying to protect me, or was there more he wasn't saying? There's one more thing, Eric said hesitantly, and this is the part we're really not sure we should tell you, but we think you deserve to know everything. Just tell me, I said, my voice flat. I was beyond emotion at this point, numb with information overload. When Vanessa sent us these screenshots, she also sent a voice note. She was clearly drunk or on something, and she said, he looked at Jordan, who nodded encouragement. She said that she and Marcus had been talking privately outside the group chat, that they'd met up a few times before the party. The room spun. What? She could have been lying, Jordan said quickly. She was clearly not in her right mind, but she said they'd gotten coffee twice and that she'd gone to his office once to drop off some old college photos. When was this? Jasmine demanded. She didn't give specific dates in the voice message, but based on the timeline of when she found him and when the party happened, it would have been sometime in the 3 weeks leading up to your birthday. Marcus had told me he'd turned down her coffee invitation. He'd said they'd only communicated in the group chat, but according to Vanessa's drunken confession, that wasn't true. Who was lying? Vanessa, who had proven herself to be manipulative and unstable, or Marcus, who had already admitted to panicking and making bad decisions? Do you still have the voice note? I asked. Eric nodded and pulled it up. Fair warning, it's pretty rambling and incoherent, but yeah, here it is. He hit play, and Vanessa's slurred voice filled the quiet corner of the coffee shop. I don't understand. We were so good together. We had coffee and we talked like old times, and he laughed at my jokes, and I thought he still felt it too. When I went to his office with those photos, he seemed happy to see me. We talked for like an hour about college and everything we used to do together. He told me about his girlfriend, but he didn't seem that into her, like he was just settling. I thought if I could just remind him how good we were, he'd remember. I thought the party would be perfect. I'd be close to him, and she'd see us together, and she'd realize he still had feelings for me, and she'd leave, and then we could be together again like we were supposed to be. But it didn't work. Nothing works. He doesn't want me. He never wanted me. Even back in college, I was just something to do until someone better came along. And now he has someone better, and I'm still alone, and I can't stop thinking about him, and I don't know what to do anymore. The voice note went on, but Eric stopped it. The rest is just more of the same, crying and rambling about how she can't move on. I sat back in my chair, my mind trying to process everything. Marcus had lied about not seeing Vanessa privately, or maybe he had seen her and didn't consider it significant enough to mention. But going to his office, having coffee twice, talking for an hour, that wasn't nothing. What are you thinking? Jasmine asked softly. I'm thinking I need to talk to Marcus again, I said, and this time I need the whole truth. We left the coffee shop and Jasmine drove me back to Aunt Linda's. The whole way I was silent, staring out the window as Seattle passed by in a blur of grey sky and green trees. Do you want me to come in? Jasmine asked as we pulled up to the house. No, but thank you, I need to think. She hugged me tight before I got out. Call me if you need anything at all, day or night. Aunt Linda was in the garden when I got inside, so I had the house to myself. I sat on the guest room bed and called Marcus. He answered on the first ring. Sarah, is everything okay? I had a meeting this morning with Eric and Jordan. Silence, then, oh. They told me some things, showed me some screenshots and a voice message from Vanessa. Sarah, I can explain. Did you meet up with Vanessa before the party? I interrupted. More silence. My heart sank. Yes, he finally admitted. But not in the way you're thinking. She asked if we could meet for coffee to catch up, and I said no the first time. But then she said she had some old college photos of all of us that she wanted to give me. Actual printed photos from back before everything was digital. I thought it would be harmless to get coffee for half an hour and pick up the photos. And the second coffee? She brought the wrong envelope. She said she'd grabbed her sister's photos by mistake and needed to meet again to give me the right ones. And going to your office? He sighed heavily. That was... Okay, that one I should have shut down. She showed up without calling first, said she was in the neighborhood and wanted to drop off the photos finally. I was in between meetings and my assistant wasn't at her desk, so I let her come back to my office. We talked for maybe 20 minutes, and then I told her I had a meeting, and she left. 20 minutes or an hour, Marcus, because Vanessa says an hour. She's lying, or exaggerating at least. It was definitely under 30 minutes. Sarah, I swear, nothing inappropriate happened. We just talked about college and caught up as old friends. That's it. Then why didn't you tell me any of this yesterday when you were supposedly telling me the whole truth? Because I knew how it would sound. His voice rose in frustration. I knew you'd think the worst, and I didn't want you to have another reason to doubt me when I was trying to prove I could be trusted. I thought if I told you everything else, about her trying to break us up, about her asking if I was single, about me blocking her, that would be enough. I didn't think the coffee meetups mattered because nothing happened at them. But they do matter, Marcus. Don't you see that? You lied to me by omission. You said you'd only talk to her in the group chat. You said you'd turned down her coffee invitation. But you actually met with her 3 times over 3 weeks, and you didn't think to mention it, even when you knew I was already hurt and confused about her role in all of this. You're right, he said, his voice defeated. You're absolutely right. I should have told you. I was trying to make myself look better, and instead I made everything worse. I'm so sorry, Sarah. I seem to keep doing that, trying to fix things and making them worse. I was crying now, angry tears streaming down my face. I want to believe you, Marcus. I want to trust that nothing happened during those meetings. But how can I when you keep leaving things out? How do I know there isn't more you're not telling me? There isn't. I swear on everything I hold sacred, there isn't anything else. I met with Vanessa 3 times, we talked as friends, nothing physical or romantic happened, and then she pulled that stunt at the party and I told her off and blocked her. That's the whole truth, I promise. Your promises don't mean much to me right now. The words seemed to physically hurt him. I could hear his sharp intake of breath. I understand, he said quietly. I've broken your trust, and words aren't going to fix that. I need to show you through actions over time. But Sarah, please don't give up on us yet. I love you so much. You're my whole world. I know I've messed up multiple times, but I want to fix this. Tell me what I need to do. I wiped my face with the back of my hand. I don't know what you need to do. I don't even know what I need to do. I need more time. Okay, yes, take all the time you need. I'll be here. After we hung up, I lay back on the bed and stared at the ceiling. Barley came into the room and jumped up beside me, resting his head on my stomach. I scratched his ears absently, my mind going in circles. Marcus had lied about seeing Vanessa, but according to his story, nothing inappropriate had happened during those meetings. Was meeting an ex-girlfriend for coffee and a brief office visit really that bad? Some people would say no, but he should have told me about it, especially given the circumstances. On the other hand, Vanessa had clearly been manipulative and delusional. Maybe Marcus really had thought the meetings were innocent friend catch-ups, not realizing she had ulterior motives. Maybe he'd been naive rather than deceptive. But that voice in the back of my head, the one that sounded like my father warning me about broken mirrors, wouldn't be quiet. Once trust is broken, can it ever really be fully repaired? I must have fallen asleep, because the next thing I knew, Aunt Linda was gently shaking my shoulder. Sarah, honey, your friends are here. I sat up groggily, confused. What? Who? Jasmine, Michelle, and a whole bunch of other people. They said something about a birthday do-over. I'd completely forgotten. They'd mentioned it in the group chat, a late birthday celebration this weekend. Apparently, they'd taken this weekend literally and shown up today, Friday afternoon. I dragged myself downstairs to find my living room filled with people. Jasmine, Michelle, Tyler, Brian, and 3 other friends from our group. They'd brought food, a cake, decorations, and armfuls of presents. Surprise, Jasmine said, her arms spread wide, but like an actual good surprise this time. No pranks, I promise. Despite everything, I laughed. It was the first genuine laugh I'd had in days, and it felt good. We figured you could use some actual celebrating, Michelle said, pulling me into a hug. You've been through hell, and we wanted to do something nice to make up for the disaster. They'd brought all my favourite foods, Thai takeout from the place near our townhouse, chocolate chip cookies from the bakery I loved, and a cake from the expensive place downtown that made the best vanilla buttercream. They'd even brought silly party hats and a Happy Birthday Sarah banner. Aunt Linda, bless her heart, welcomed everyone into her home without hesitation. She even brought out extra plates and helped set everything up in the dining room. For the next few hours, I got to just be normal. We ate, we laughed, we told stupid jokes and shared funny stories. Everyone carefully avoided mentioning Marcus or the original party disaster. They'd brought thoughtful gifts, a beautiful journal from Michelle, a gift card to my favorite bookstore from Jasmine, a cozy blanket from Tyler, fancy tea from Brian. Speech, someone called out as I opened the last present. Oh no, I don't do speeches. Speech, 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 they all chanted, grinning. I stood up, feeling emotional. Okay, fine. Thank you guys, all of you. This past week has been one of the worst of my life, but you've all been incredible. You've stood by me, you've validated my feelings, and you've shown me what real friendship looks like. I honestly don't know what I would do without you all. So, yeah, thank you for everything. We love you, Sarah, Jasmine called out, and everyone echoed the sentiment. As the party wound down and people started leaving, Jasmine pulled me aside. So what are you going to do about Marcus? She asked quietly. I don't know, I admitted. Part of me wants to forgive him and try to move past this, but part of me thinks this is a sign that we're not right for each other. If he really loved me the way he says he does, would he have been so careless with my feelings? I can't answer that for you, Jasmine said, but I will say this. Whatever you decide, we support you. If you want to work things out with him, we'll be here to help you through that. If you want to break up with him and move on, we'll be here for that too. You're not alone in this, okay? I hugged her tightly. Thank you for everything. After everyone left and Aunt Linda had gone to bed, I sat alone in the guest room, thinking. My phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. Marcus, I heard you had a party with friends tonight. I'm glad. You deserve to celebrate with people who love you. I'm not going to text you unless you text me first. I know I need to give you space, but I want you to know that I love you, and I'm not giving up on us. Whenever you're ready to talk, I'll be here. I stared at the message for a long time, then set the phone aside without responding. Tomorrow, I decided. I'd make a decision tomorrow. The next morning, I woke up to my phone ringing. It was 6:47 a.m. Who the hell calls at 6:47 a.m.? I grabbed the phone and saw an unknown number. Normally I wouldn't answer, but something made me pick up. Hello? Is this Sarah Chen? A male voice, unfamiliar. Yes, who is this? My name is David Park. I'm a friend of Marcus Washington. I'm calling because he's in the hospital. My blood turned to ice. What? What happened? He was found unconscious in your townhouse last night. A neighbor heard weird noises and called 911. The paramedics brought him to Swedish Medical Center. They couldn't reach his emergency contact. His mom is overseas. So they called me since I'm listed as his alternative contact at work. Is he okay? What happened? They're not entirely sure yet. They're running tests. But Sarah, they think it might have been intentional. There was an empty bottle of pills found near him. No, this wasn't happening. I'll be there in 20 minutes, I said, already jumping out of bed. He's in the ICU, 3rd floor, room 317. I threw on clothes, scribbled a hasty note for Aunt Linda, and was in my car in under 5 minutes. The drive to Swedish Medical Center was a blur. I parked in the first spot I saw and ran into the hospital, taking the stairs because the elevator was too slow. When I burst into the ICU waiting area, I found David, Marcus's co-worker from the party, sitting in one of the plastic chairs looking exhausted. He's still unconscious, David said when he saw me. The doctors are with him now. They should be out soon to give us an update. I collapsed into a chair, my hands shaking. What happened? Do you know anything else? Not much. The neighbor, Mrs. Kim, I think, called 911 around midnight. She heard what sounded like someone falling and furniture breaking. When the paramedics got there, they had to break down the door. Found Marcus unconscious on the living room floor, empty pill bottle nearby. Looks like it was his old prescription for anxiety meds from a few years ago. Oh my God, I put my head in my hands. This is my fault. This is all my fault. Sarah, don't... It is. I told him I needed space, and then I ignored his messages, and he must have thought I was going to break up with him, and he... I couldn't finish the sentence, couldn't say the words. A doctor emerged from the ICU at that moment. She was a middle-aged South Asian woman with kind eyes and a tired expression. "Are you here for Marcus Washington?" she asked. We both stood up. "Yes," I said. "I'm his girlfriend. How is he?" "He's stable now. We pumped his stomach and he's on IV fluids. He ingested a significant amount of lorazepam, but we got to him in time. He should make a full physical recovery." The relief that washed over me was so intense I felt lightheaded. "Can I see him?" "He's still unconscious, but yes. Only one visitor at a time in the ICU, though." David gestured for me to go ahead. "I'll call his work and let them know what's going on." The doctor led me through the ICU doors and down a hallway of private rooms with glass walls. In room 317, I saw Marcus lying in a hospital bed, looking pale and fragile. He had an IV in his arm and a nasal cannula providing oxygen. His usually vibrant complexion was grey. I pulled a chair up to his bedside and took his hand. It was cool to the touch. "I'm so sorry," I whispered, even though he couldn't hear me. "I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have shut you out. I should have talked to you. I should have—" My voice broke. I sat there for hours, holding his hand and watching the rise and fall of his chest. Nurses came in periodically to check his vitals and adjust his IV. The doctor returned once to tell me that all his tests had come back normal, aside from the obvious drug overdose. No brain damage, no organ failure. He'd been lucky. Around 2 p.m., his fingers twitched in mine. His eyelids fluttered. "Marcus?" I leaned forward. "Marcus, can you hear me?" His eyes opened slowly, unfocused at first. He blinked several times, trying to orient himself. When his gaze finally landed on me, confusion crossed his face. "Sarah?" His voice was rough and barely above a whisper. "I'm here. You're in the hospital. You're going to be okay." Tears started rolling down his cheeks. "I'm sorry," he croaked. "I'm so sorry. I wasn't trying to. I just wanted the pain to stop." A nurse rushed in, alerted by the change in his heart rate monitor. She checked his vitals quickly and then gave me a sympathetic look. "I'll give you two some privacy, but don't overwhelm him. He needs rest." After she left, I brushed Marcus's hair back from his forehead. "What happened?" "I couldn't sleep," he said, his words slightly slurred. "Kept thinking about how I'd ruined everything, how you were never going to forgive me, how I'd lost the best thing in my life because I was an idiot. I found those old anxiety pills from a few years ago, thought maybe they'd help me sleep. But then I took a few and it didn't help, so I took a few more. And then I thought, if I just took the whole bottle, maybe I could stop thinking, stop hurting." He was crying harder now. "I didn't want to die, Sarah. I swear I didn't. I just wanted everything to stop." I was crying too. "Marcus, you scared me so much. When I got the call that you were in the hospital, I thought I'd lost you. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for everything. For the prank, for lying, for not being the boyfriend you deserved. You're better off without me." "Don't say that." I squeezed his hand tighter. "Don't you dare say that." "It's true, though. All I do is hurt you. You should leave me and find someone who deserves you." "Marcus, listen to me." I waited until he met my eyes. "What you did was scary and wrong, and we need to get you proper help. But I'm not leaving you while you're like this, okay? We can figure out the rest later, but right now, I'm here, and I'm not going anywhere. You shouldn't have to deal with this. You shouldn't have to deal with me." "Well, tough. You're stuck with me for now." I tried to smile through my tears. "Besides, you're my emergency contact. I know all your medical history. The hospital needs me." He let out a sound that might have been a laugh or a sob. "I love you. Even if we don't end up together, I need you to know that. You're the best thing that ever happened to me." "I love you too," I said, and realized as I said it that it was true. Despite everything, the prank, the lies, the pain, I still loved him. Maybe that made me stupid. Maybe it made me codependent. But it was the truth. The doctor returned a few minutes later. "I'm glad you're awake, Mr. Washington. How are you feeling?" "Tired, confused, nauseous." All normal given what you've been through. We're going to keep you here for at least 72 hours for observation. During that time, you'll meet with our psychiatric team. They'll help assess your mental state and make recommendations for outpatient treatment. Marcus nodded weakly. The doctor continued, "You should also know that because this appears to have been a suicide attempt, we're required by law to report it to the state. You'll need to follow up with mental health services as a condition of your release." "I understand," Marcus said quietly. After the doctor left, I stayed with Marcus until visiting hours ended. We didn't talk much. He was too tired and medicated. But I held his hand, and he held mine back, and for now, that was enough. Over the next 3 days, I essentially lived at the hospital. Aunt Linda brought me changes of clothes and food. My friends visited, bringing Marcus flowers and get-well cards. Even though the circumstances were weird, they were trying to be supportive. David from work stopped by daily to check on him. Marcus met with 3 different psychiatrists. They diagnosed him with clinical depression and prescribed antidepressants, along with mandatory therapy sessions twice a week for the next 6 months. They also had me come in for a session about how to support someone recovering from a suicide attempt without sacrificing my own mental health. It was during that session that Marcus's psychiatrist, Dr. Nguyen, told us something that changed everything. Marcus has been very open with me about the events leading up to his hospitalization, Dr. Nguyen said. We were sitting in her office, a calm space with soft lighting and comfortable chairs. And while the relationship difficulties were certainly a trigger, they weren't the root cause. "Marcus, would you like to tell Sarah what we discussed?" Marcus looked at his hands. "I've been depressed for a long time, since my breakup with Vanessa, back in college. I thought I'd dealt with it, but I guess I just buried it. When Vanessa came back into my life, it brought up all these old feelings and memories. And then when the party thing happened and I saw how much I'd hurt you, it felt like proof that I was broken, that I ruin everything good in my life." Dr. Nguyen nodded. "Depression is an illness, not a character flaw. It distorts our thinking and makes us believe things about ourselves that aren't true. Marcus has agreed to stay on medication and continue therapy to address these underlying issues. But Sarah, I want to be clear with you. You are not responsible for Marcus's mental health. What happened was not your fault." I felt tears prick my eyes. But I ignored his messages. I shut him out when he needed me. You set boundaries to protect yourself after being hurt. That's healthy and appropriate. Marcus's reaction to those boundaries was not your responsibility. He needs to learn healthier coping mechanisms for when he's in distress. We talked for another 30 minutes about what healthy support looked like versus codependency, about warning signs to watch for, about when to call for help. When we left Dr. Nguyen's office, I felt both relieved and overwhelmed. This wasn't just about one prank or one lie anymore. This was about Marcus's mental health, and that was bigger and more complicated than anything we'd dealt with before. On the 3rd day, as Marcus was being discharged, he turned to me with tears in his eyes. "I have something I need to tell you," he said, "and this time it's the complete truth, all of it. After this, if you want to leave, I'll understand." My stomach clenched. "What is it?" He took a deep breath. "Vanessa and we didn't just have coffee and one office visit. We were intimate, multiple times. In the weeks leading up to your birthday." The words hit me like a physical blow. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. "What?" I finally managed. "The first time was after the second coffee meetup. She invited me back to her apartment to see some old college videos she'd digitized. I knew I shouldn't go, but I convinced myself it was innocent. When we got there, one thing led to another, and Then it happened again when she came to my office, and a few more times after that, always at her place, never at our townhouse." I stood up, my legs shaky. "You're telling me you've been cheating on me this whole time?" "I'm so sorry, Sarah. I was so ashamed. I didn't know how to stop it. Vanessa kept saying we were meant to be together, that what I had with you wasn't real, that I was just with you because I was afraid to be alone. And part of me started believing her. But then at the party, when I saw your face, when I saw how much I'd hurt you, it was like I snapped out of it. I realized that what I had with you was real, and what I had with Vanessa was just me trying to relive the past or fix something that was already broken. Get out! My voice was cold. Sarah, get out! Get out of this room! Get away from me! Please, let me explain. You lied to me. You lied to my face when I asked you directly if anything happened with Vanessa. You let me sit here for 3 days, thinking you almost died because of relationship problems, when really you almost died because you were guilty about cheating on me. I was shouting now. A nurse poked her head in to check if everything was okay. I need you to leave, I told Marcus, my voice shaking with rage. Now! Where am I supposed to go? I can't be alone right now. Dr. Nguyen said, call David, call your college friends, call Vanessa for all I care, but you're not coming home with me. Sarah, please. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but please don't leave me right now. I'm not in a good place mentally. And whose fault is that? I shot back. You made these choices. You chose to cheat on me repeatedly. You chose to lie about it over and over. You chose to put me through hell while covering up the real reason you felt guilty. So no, Marcus, I'm not going to stay here and comfort you through the consequences of your own actions. I'm done. I grabbed my purse and walked out of the hospital room, leaving him sitting on the bed crying. As I passed the nurses' station, I told them that Marcus would need to call someone else for a ride home because I was no longer able to help. Then I got in my car and drove back to Aunt Linda's, where I cried for 2 hours straight. It's been 6 months since that awful birthday, and I'm sitting in my new apartment, a studio in Capitol Hill that I can barely afford on my own, but it's mine and mine alone. The view isn't great, and my neighbors are loud, but it's my space, my fresh start. Marcus and I officially broke up 4 days after he was discharged from the hospital. He sent me a long email apologizing again, explaining that he'd been going to therapy and working on himself, asking if there was any chance we could try again in the future. I wrote back saying no, that I wished him well, that I hoped he got the help he needed, but that I couldn't trust him again. Some mirrors once broken can't be repaired. My friends have been incredible. Jasmine helped me move all my stuff out of the townhouse. Michelle has been my movie night companion, helping me rediscover who I am outside of a relationship. Tyler and Brian have been protective older brothers, making sure I eat and take care of myself. Aunt Linda has become one of my closest confidants. I visit her in Bali every Sunday for dinner. She never says, "I told you so," but she doesn't have to. The day I told her I was leaving Marcus for good, she just hugged me and said, "I'm proud of you for choosing yourself." I ran into Vanessa once, about 3 months ago, at a coffee shop downtown. She looked terrible, thinner, tired, hollow-eyed. When she saw me, she walked over to my table. "I'm sorry," she said without preamble, "for everything. I was obsessed and delusional, and I hurt a lot of people. I'm in therapy now, working on my issues. I just wanted you to know that I'm sorry." I looked at her for a long moment. "I appreciate the apology, but I don't forgive you." She nodded, like she'd expected that. "I understand. I hope you're doing okay." "I'm doing better than okay," I said, and it was true. As for Marcus, I heard through mutual friends that he's still in therapy and on medication. He's dating someone new, a woman named Rachel he met at a support group. Good for him. I genuinely hope he's learned and grown from what happened. But I've learned and grown too. I've learned that love isn't enough if there's no trust. I've learned that I deserve someone who respects me enough to be honest, even when the truth is hard. I've learned that setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's self-preservation. My 27th birthday is coming up in 2 weeks. This time I'm planning it myself. Just a small dinner with my closest friends at my favorite restaurant. No surprises, no pranks, no drama. Just me taking control of my own story. And you know what? That feels pretty damn good.